This week, we saw the Savannah Bananas take over Disneyland, create some insane fans' first moments there, and create some hilarious Disney posts based off it. And to top it all off, we got to go to a live game in Anaheim. Welcome to the Banana Breakdown Podcast. Whether it's player interviews, weekly breakdowns of the games, or post-game live streams, we love to talk about all things Banana Ball. We just got back from the game in Anaheim, and it was absolutely electric.
Oh yeah, I was so happy to be there. As you can see, I'm wearing something a little different today. I'm repping the Firefighters. I really love this hat. I got this hat at the game, and honestly, it's one of my favorite hats I've ever had. It's such a cool logo. But yeah, repping the Firefighters today because we got to see the Bananas play the Firefighters in Anaheim.
Yeah, and it was a really cool moment to see them play in person because the one that we went to before was Party Animals versus the Bananas. And so seeing the firefighters walk out onto the field with the fire truck behind them, seeing all of the different things that they did was really cool to see in person.
Yeah, and to add to that, last time we went to the game, we weren't there for the pre-show, the before the Peel show, or the post-game party, the Plaza party. We didn't stay for that, and we didn't get there early for the other stuff. But this time we were there all day. We got there when the merch tents went up at around. We got there around 12:30, and then the pre-game show started at 2. We just stayed at the stadium until what? We probably got there at 12:30, didn't leave till 9:30, maybe later.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And to top it all off of going to a game in person, I also got the opportunity to go see them in Disneyland. And there were some really cool fans moments that we were able to have there. And so we wanted to break that all down on today's podcast. But I think we can jump right into the game. So one of the cool things for me to watch was watching before the game started with all the players interacting with some of the fans. And a lot of the players brought young fans onto the field and were playing catch with them. And my favorite was Reese Alexiades. So being able to interview him and seeing the behind the scenes of his story getting here, watching him, especially in person, was so much more fun. I was rooting for him the whole time. But he brought a bunch of kids out on the field and was playing catch with them. And he had the whole stadium, like the whole section that we were in that was right in front of us. Like everyone was waving their gloves, trying to get him to throw the ball to them in the stands. It was a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, some of the kids that he brought down onto the field, they were wearing capes, so you could tell that they were huge fans. And let me tell you, one of the kids, I don't know who he was, but he had a cannon for an arm. I was really impressed. I don't know how old he was. It couldn't have been older than 10, and he was just throwing so far to Reese, and it was a really cool thing to see. And I could tell with this being his homecoming game, his hometown game, uh, you could tell that a huge section of the section we were sitting in knew him. Like they were
Yeah.
wearing capes, they were rooting for him, and that was really cool.
Yeah, there was like a group of about maybe 8 or 10 people who just had red capes and they were walking down, and it was so funny to watch. But that was something really cool, and a bunch of the other players were doing similar things, and so that's just something that's really cool to watch in the in-person games that you don't see otherwise.
Yeah, and Reese had a really good weekend, and
Yeah,
I'm so happy for him. When we were talking to him, I don't remember if it made it into the interview, if it was before we started the interview when we were just talking to him. He just mentioned how excited he was to play in that game, having grown up around there. Um, and so I was just so happy that he had such a great game. And yeah, 2 games really. He played great in both games. He was the showman of the night in the game one, the one that we weren't at. But he played great in both games this weekend, so I was really happy for him.
yeah, especially in the defense department, he got so many trick plays, and I love seeing that he does like a bunch of different ones. So it was like he did a bunch of different things, and one of my favorites seeing in person. I wish I could have captured this on camera because you don't see this on the live stream. He did the one where with his glove, he popped it up and he caught it and immediately fell on the ground and slept. And the fans went crazy when that happened. And the best part was you look on the field and almost all of the players had dropped to the ground simultaneously, and it was so cool to watch.
Yeah, they knew immediately that he was going to do that, and yeah, they all dropped down. I was kind of surprised at how quickly they did that, how coordinated it was. But you shouldn't be surprised about anything in Banana Land.
Yeah, and there were some really cool moments other than that in the game, and one of them was a former MLB player, John Lackey, and he came out to the field, and as soon as he got on the mound, they actually might be controversial. It seems like they might have broke a banana ball
I
rule.
was upset about this. So obviously I was rooting for the Firefighters, but this is kind of a big deal in Banana Ball. There's no mound visits. So what in the world is going on here? I get it; it's part of the show. They're doing this to pay tribute to Angels in the Outfield, the Disney movie, which is uh, um, yeah,
Such a good movie,
yeah,
by the
it's a
way.
great movie. And so a Bananas coach goes up for a mound visit, which shouldn't have been allowed, to talk to him, and they kind of do what happened in that movie and tell him, like, look around, whatever, and had the whole crowd do the, wave your, flap your wings, do angels flap their wings? I don't know, move their wings. Um, and then out in in the uh, like on the rock thing in the Angels outfield, I don't like just boulders or whatever. Uh, Out there was Cowboy Kyle, out out there dressed as an angel doing this, and it was it was hilarious. Even though the Bananas did break a rule, and so I think that the Firefighters should get a win, and the Bananas should be disqualified from all further competitions.
I mean, for the
Just
record, it
kidding.
just says no mound visits. It doesn't say what happens if you go against the rules.
I
So,
guess, yeah. Um, but yeah, that was kind of a funny part too because there's two outs. Firefighters have have two outs. He goes up there, and you could tell that they want this because obviously all of the showman stuff is scripted. That stuff they rehearse and everything. The game itself is not scripted,
which was
but
very clear here with what
yes,
happens
yes,
next.
very clear because what they want to have happen here is he goes out, they have this moment, they do this little angels in the outfield thing, and then he should get the third out and it should be over. Well, they he should have gotten the third out, but DR Meadows actually misses a trick play. Can't remember what move he was trying to do, but he ends up dropping the ball, which should have been the third out, and so now the Firefighters have someone on base. Then I don't remember who the next one was, but another missed trick play. Now the Firefighters have multiple guys on base, and they end up scoring in that inning.
Yeah.
And John Lackey was not expecting to pitch for as long as he pitched, but that inning ended up going way longer. He threw so many pitches. The poor guy. Keep in mind he was the a pitcher for the Angels when the Angels won the World Series in 2002. So that's 23 years ago.
Yep.
I don't know how long out of the league he's been, but that's gotta really hurt your shoulder. He was not expecting to go for that long. Uh, but he was pitching well, and
Yeah.
I was a little as even though I was rooting for the Firefighters, I wanted him to have a better moment than what he ended up having.
Yeah, and kudos to him for going that long and doing so well in those moments. But yeah, this is proof that they do not script the banana ball games because, like Sammy said, if they had scripted it out, it would have he would have thrown one pitch, they would have got the out. The Angels in the outfield would have helped them
Yeah,
to get the out, and that didn't happen. And it was actually really funny because the whole spiel on the mound is, oh, I'm so tired. I don't know if I can do another pitch. And it was
yeah,
like he literally threw a couple practice pitches and then they did the mound visit and then he like went a full inning and then it was like they should have like had them go out again
yeah,
after there were a couple people on base and a score and then that would have been better scripted. So again, proof that they don't script the games.
yeah. And the Bananas did end up winning that inning though.
It's
So
scripted.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, if you want to have the argument that it is scripted, let me tell you my favorite part. So if you want, some, if you want to convince someone that it is scripted, then this was a perfect moment. Mason Maxwell of the Firefighters has a walk up that was really awesome. It was he was lip syncing to the song "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan. So they were doing a bunch of Disney stuff, obviously being in Anaheim. Um, and he does his walk up, really, really good dance, elaborate choreography, whatever. And he goes up and he hits a home run.
And this was a great moment because the guy next to me, this was his first banana ball game, and he's like, "Man, he better get a hit after that dance."
Yeah, yeah.
And I turned to him and I'm like, "Well, a lot of times like they're on such a high that they actually like hit a home run." He knocks it out of the park, and I was like, "Whoa, that was awesome!"
Yeah, it was a great moment. And the guy sitting next to me, he turned and was like, "What would have happened if he just struck out?" Like, he just would have struck out, and and that stuff has happened too. Um,
And it did happen in this game. It
yeah,
actually, Jackson Olsen, a few innings later, he did a dance to a walk up, and then he grounded out.
yeah,
And you could tell he was not happy after that one, rightfully so. But
yeah,
it's like that it's like you have both sides, but it's like that's if they wanted it to be this great social media post, it like if they were scripted, it would have been a hit, it would have been a home run. So like I love things like that as hard as it is for the players, where it's like okay, like look at this, like it's not scripted because of things like that.
yeah. And that was kind of an interesting uh thing that I was thinking about because the people that were sitting to the right of me, they this was their first ever banana ball game, and they started to warm up to it later on in the game. But at first, they were kind of making fun of it, and I'm not gonna lie, there were way more missed trick plays today than usual. I don't know what was going on, but the Bananas missed a lot of trick plays. The Firefighters missed a lot too. Both teams were missing a lot of trick plays, and they were getting a little frustrated. But the first backflip catch that was landed, I can't remember if it was Coach Rack or if it was Dr. Meadows that got the first one. Um, the guys sitting next to me were like blown away, and so it kind of goes with that. Like you've got to have you got to keep trying, and that's what the Bananas do. Banana ball in general, all these teams, they keep trying to do crazy stuff because let's be honest, they do want stuff to go viral from their games so that
Yeah.
people come and watch more games. But you got to keep trying stuff, and you're going to screw up a bunch. But when it hits, it really hits. And so when you're watching a banana ball game and you finally see that first backflip catch, you're like, "Holy cow, he really just did that. That's crazy." Or you are watching for the first time and you see this elaborate walk up, and maybe in the back of your mind you're like, this is kind of dumb. If he doesn't get it, this is going to be like, why did he do that? But he hits a home run and you're like, holy cow, that was epic. And so you've got to have, you're going to fail a lot as you try all this stuff, but when they hit, they really hit.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's inspiring about the Bananas in general. And listening to the owner Jesse Cole is talking about how they want to be the fastest learning organization, and the way to do that is to do more things and to fail more, and how they love to fail because it leads them to the next big thing. Where they've tried all these things where they just had the idea, what if our players danced? And it actually worked, and now it's a huge part of Banana Ball. But then they tried other things that fell flat on their face. But guess what? That was 4, 5, 6 years ago. No one remembers that, but they remember the dancing because it worked and they really leaned into it. And so they're able to take those things and try and fail until they get to the right things. And it's led them to where they are today. And so it's really cool to see how they just keep going and how they instill that in their players. That's something that is really cool with the Bananas, is they just keep trying on these trick plays no matter how many times they missed. And I think they ended with like 13 or 15 trick plays on the night at the end of the day. It was really cool.
Yeah, Firefighters I think only had two. But yeah, they keep trying and they keep getting better. One thing, before the game started, Jesse Cole, he was talking to everyone, and I thought this was a really cool moment there where he talked about his inspiration. Obviously, we've talked about this before. Jesse talks about it a lot. He's written about it. Uh, One of the people that inspired him the most is Walt Disney. And with it being in Anaheim, they were just at Disneyland. This is Disney Town.
Yeah.
Disney used to own the Angels at one point. Like this is this is really a Disney town. He talked about his inspiration of Walt Disney and how Walt Disney had the idea to build Disneyland for a place where adults and kids could go together to have fun, and that's the idea behind Banana Ball as well, is for adults and kids to have fun together. And he has tried so many different things, and he's failed a lot, but the product that we got to see on Saturday showed, he failed a ton, but he's gotten, because of that, he's learned so much, and he's gotten to the point where it is today, where there are so many kids that are so happy to be there, so many families that were together. Like, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing, that's the most important thing, is that there were families that were enjoying a great day together, and everyone was having a good time, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, and that's something that, like, to your point, we were at the pregame. So we actually waited outside right when the early merchandise opportunities ended at 1, and then the gates opened at 2. So for an hour, we sat outside the gates waiting for it to open. So we were some of the first ones to get into the gates, and they just had all of the players lined up, and people just swarmed to the Bananas to go meet them and get their autographs. And you had two in particular where all of the lines were pretty long, but Coach Rack and Jackson Olson's lines were incredibly long.
Yeah.
I grabbed a video that we were able to take, and it just going down the entire Coach Rack line, and it just went on forever. And the kids are just so excited to meet these players, and the adults too. That's what's crazy, is it does really take that, the essence of the best parts of Disney and Disneyland is the fact that adults feel like kids again. They can have those experiences and have those fun interactions, and it was really cool to see all of
Yeah, I do want to tell a funny little story here.
that.
I felt so awkward asking. We got some autographs, and I felt so awkward because I don't remember the last time I asked for an autograph. Like, yeah, okay, I do remember actually. I was in sixth grade, and I was at a BYU basketball game, and I asked for Brandon Davies and Charles Abuo's autographs. I still have the hat. So, okay, I do remember exactly the last time I asked for an autograph. Um, and anyway, I felt I don't know how to ask for an autograph, and we'll talk about the ball that we got signed. But I noticed that when I was asking for people's autographs, I kept on asking, "Can I just get a quick signature?" I wasn't saying the word autograph. I was asking for their signature, and I realized it's because at work, what I do for work, I do ask for people's signatures a lot, and when they sign up for a new contract or whatever, and so I was going into that mode. It's like, I just need a quick signature right here. Like, I felt. I'm sorry if any players are watching. You thought I was super awkward. It's because I did feel awkward, and I was going into work mode. Ask like, I don't want to bother you, but could I just get a quick signature? Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, and that was it was awkward at times to try to like figure out like, okay, we're adults, but we're also like excited about
Yeah.
this, but like you can also get nervous in those moments. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about it really quick. So we actually got an official banana ball and got it signed by a couple players, and we wanted to do this for you guys, for the fans. So what we're gonna do with this is we're shooting for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a big milestone that we're excited to hit, and we're going on that trajectory. And so if you're not subscribed right now and you're listening to this, please subscribe so that we can get to that milestone. Our goal is at the 1,000 subscriber mark, we're going to have a big live stream party. We're going to hang out with you guys, have some fun, and one of you on the live stream will win this ball that's signed by about 9 or 10 of the banana ball players. So
Yeah, we're really excited about that. It was a lot of fun to get all the signatures. So yeah, that's the goal we're shooting for. So please subscribe and join us on that live stream. Hopefully it's very soon.
yes, we're hoping so, and it's been really fun just meeting all the players and able to do that. And we just really wanted to bring some of our experience back for you guys. So hope you enjoy it, and hope that one of you listening right now is able to get this ball here soon. We want you to have that piece of banana ball.
For sure. And while we're still talking about meeting the players, I just want to shout out, these guys are just incredibly nice guys.
Yes.
I don't know how you can sit in those super long lines and still just, give everyone a really good portion of your time. Like
Yeah.
it's about 30 seconds that max that they're talking to everyone. But when we're listening with people that are ahead of us in line, you could tell like they're asking what their names are. They're really excited, like especially with the kids. Like they just take the time and they're gonna make those kids days and years to come, they're going to remember how nice these players were to them.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome. And honestly, for us too, it meant a lot to us. Like, uh, how, they were so excited to see us and they recognized us, and which is really cool and kind of shocking in some ways. And, it was just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool meeting some of them, and some of them like we met Reese, and it's like we'd already interviewed him on the podcast, and he actually, it was really funny on Sammy's post afterwards, and in person he was like, "Dude, what do I got to do to like get you in yellow? Like we got to get you in bananas gear sometime."
Yeah. If anyone's gonna get me to do it, I think it might be Reese. He's a really great guy. Maybe he'll convince me someday, but I'm not close yet, so it's gonna take some work.
I might have to make a cape for Sammy. That might be the only way to get him in yellow.
Yeah, we'll see.
It was really fun to meet some of the other players and have those interactions and see that they kind of recognized us from the podcast, which was really cool. And the same thing happened in Disneyland, which we can transition over to for a little bit. But some of the players recognized us there, and it was really cool to see.
Well,
But
recognized you. I wasn't
yes.
there. I was at work. Just want everyone to know that Brandon was having a lot of fun at Disneyland, and I was not.
And we did film some stuff. It was our first ever vlog, so may not be the best. We'll see, but we had some uh, funny stuff from there, going that back and forth.
Yeah, we'll try to get that out as soon as possible on our other channel, the Banana Breakdown, not Banana Breakdown Podcast, which is this channel, which you should subscribe to that one too, but also subscribe to Banana Breakdown, which will have other content, and we're going to throw the vlog up there as soon as we can get it edited.
Yeah, and so we're really excited for that. But yeah, I won't go too deep into it because we'll have that other content talking about it. But they were able to do the Hey Baby dance in front of the castle. And what I will say right here is, I got there an hour before it started, and it was completely packed. I could not find a place,
Crazy.
and it was just like literally like the front line in front of there. It was packed like multiple people deep. So I had to like go up near the Walt Disney statue and like tried to like find a place there. So I was way far away. Like I could barely see the players, but I at least was able to see it. So like it was packed beforehand. Then that ends, and they're gonna do a parade down Main Street, and it's an hour before the parade happens, and the entire both sides of Main Street are completely lined with people. An hour before, I was like, I bet I can find a spot here. I'll just sit down for an hour. There's no way it's gonna be taken, and I walked both sides of Main Street completely packed.
So crazy.
And yeah, and like there were just so many fans, and it was one of the coolest things seeing so many banana ball uniforms there. And like when I first got there and got on the trams, there's a guy in a uniform. It was the first guy I saw, and like he looked and we made eye contact and just nodded and like, oh yeah, we know what we're here for.
Well, it's crazy because we had this conversation when it was announced. We're like, how many people are going to be there? And obviously, there still were people there that like did not know that this was happening. They just had it planned. But like, how many people are going to be there and just be like, what the heck is going on? I've had this planned for months. Was not expecting this. But it really, from what you're telling me, it really seems like there were there was less of that than uh, would have been expected. There were way more Banana Ball fans and Savannah Bananas fans there than we originally thought.
Yeah, and like we met a lot of people there, and a lot of the people were from California. They had the year pass to Disney, and so it was like they watched the Savannah Bananas game, heard the announcement, and immediately reserved the day so they could go. And most of them were like super shocked to hear that I traveled from Arizona just to come to Disneyland for this day. But there were some people there who were Bananas fans, and they had no idea. They just happened to be there, which is what we had predicted on the podcast. And then there were so many conversations. It was hilarious. Going through security, like, dude, what are these like bananas? Like, I keep seeing these uniforms. Like, what's going on here? And then like someone in their party would be like, oh yeah, they're the TikTok guys. They have the baseball thing
Yeah.
and this and that. And they would just explain it. And so it got so much exposure out there for them. But what I really want to know, I didn't find anyone who's in this category. I want to know if someone sat down on Main Street, just seeing other people sit down and be like, oh, Mickey's gonna come
Yeah.
down here and we're gonna see this parade. And then the bananas come down. They're like, what is going on?
I'm sure that happens. There's no way they see a group of people like, oh, I can't miss whatever is going on, and maybe they're going to be lifelong fans now. Maybe, oh no, it would have been impossible for them to get into the game. Oh, there's people that do resell tickets, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, that was so this is outside of Disneyland, but like it was a little bit there, but also like when we went to get food on the day of the game and stuff. One of the biggest things that I kept hearing whenever they would see us in the uniforms was, "Oh, Savannah Bananas, this and that, yada yada." We'd go back and forth, and they'd say, "Are you going to the game on Saturday?" Because there was a huge buzz around the entire city. We're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go on the game. Have you ever been to one?" And they would say, "No, the tickets are just too expensive." It wasn't even I can't get tickets. It was they thought that the secondhand tickets on Ticketmaster on wherever that people were reselling them, they thought those were the actual tickets and like, no, 200 or 300 bucks, that's way too much for me for the Bananas game.
It's a big issue. Split on Twitter has been fighting the good fight. Every time someone comment, or it happens a lot, people post the the ticket prices like 2 or 3 days before the game and saying these are way too expensive, and Split will comment those are not our prices, because they're not. They're very reasonable prices, and they and there's the lottery to get in. Like, it's very fair and it's very reasonable prices. They could be charging so much more, obviously, because that's what the secondary market shows,
Yeah,
that people want to be there. The market price is way higher than what they charge, and
and that's
they're
intentional.
exactly. And so that it's a little bit frustrating when I see that, because there's some bad press. It's like, oh, these are way too expensive, um, but they're not, and it's just the secondary market. And I hope that people will realize that. But shout out to Split. His Twitter is so funny, but he fights back on all the people that are banana ball haters.
Yeah, and so that was just like one of the misconceptions that like it was eye opening for me. Like I'd heard that that was a big issue for like that people had not understood, but like that was the main thing that I kept on hearing. And so every time we would just be like, yeah, secondary market's really high, but they set like their prices are actually really reasonable. They're low. It's hard to get, but the prices are low. And so we tried to help uh, fix that misconception
Good
that people
job.
had.
I'm sure Split is very yeah, proud of us for doing that.
Which, speaking of Split, he is so funny in
Oh
the games.
gosh.
One of my favorite parts was they're just doing a dance on the field, and then out in the back, you just see him rolling down the grass hill in center field and just slowly going down. And it was amazing because like everyone was like watching whatever's going on. You see this like yellow speck moving in the background. It's like, oh, what is the banana mascot doing
Yeah,
out there?
he's very funny. All the guys, everyone's doing something. It's super entertaining. Yeah, great game. I wish the game would have been more competitive. That was my biggest complaint.
Same here.
The firefighters have really struggled so far this year.
Yeah, I think that we need to go into that conversation. So if you look at the stats back here, if you're watching the video, the Bananas are now 17 wins to 19 losses. The Party Animals are 23 wins to 14 losses. The Firefighters are 0 wins to 4 losses, and the Tailgaters 1 win to 4 losses. Now, we don't have all the ins and outs. We don't know the full reasons why, but we're going to speculate a little bit about what we think might be going on. And the biggest reason in my mind that might be going on is the Bananas and Party Animals were able to play banana ball for years at those 3,000 fan games, the 5,000 fans, and they slowly worked their way up where these guys are getting thrown in. Like there were, what was it, like 45,000 people at Anaheim? And so these players, this is one of their first banana ball games, and they're playing in this insanely loud environment. And another thing, if you haven't been to banana ball games, they blast the music loud, and it is loud the entire game
Yeah,
while they're pitching, while they're batting. So I can totally understand if you're used to like getting in the zone with no noise and then you're hearing that noise in the background, like I can totally understand it kind of throwing you off your groove.
for sure. And there are there are veterans on the firefighters. But yeah, there are a lot of rookies too, and then the people that and the players that played last year, it's just their second year, and so it's a lot different. And also keep in mind that Bananas and Party Animals have played so many more games just this season, and so there's a lot of stuff that the firefighters are working out. Um, but yeah, the games have been a little disappointing when it comes to competitiveness with the Bananas and the
Yeah.
firefighters.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about Banana Ball is even amidst that, you can have the fun backflip
For
catching things
sure,
like
yeah.
that. But like I was also extremely disappointed at the end of the night. Like I think it's because we had just come off the super high of the Party Animals and Tailgater showdowns, and like I love showdowns. I wish
He
every game
he
ended in a
was
showdown.
mad the Bananas won. He was
To an extent, I was mad that the Bananas won in a blowout.
yeah.
I wish it was a Bananas walk off because I feel that's the best way to end a game. One of my least favorite ways to end a game is what happened at the game, unfortunately. I don't like when a team's up by a couple points and the other team grounds out to end the game. It's so anticlimactic.
It did end on a trick play though.
Yes, yeah, but like the little dribbling grounders,
Yeah.
like at least like I love when if it's like Drew Gillespie on the Party Animals and striking out someone to end the game. Like I don't know, it's just like you're doing something to earn the win at the end. I know that you do that, all the stuff you do leading up to it, but it always that ninth inning is where it comes down to. So I was grateful that the firefighters at least had that 2-run home run at the end, put up a little bit
Yeah.
of a fight there to try to catch up.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, they ended up losing 5-3. And I put on my rally cap right before that home run. That put the cap on inside out. It was hard to do with this. Like it's way easier to. I'm not used to wearing hats like this. I don't wear flat bill hats except for my banana ball hats. So it's a lot easier to do with other hats. So I was having a hard time. But then they hit the home run, and then I was dumb and I put it back to normal, and
It
then
was your fault.
yeah, I'm supposed to be the good luck charm, and I really screwed it up. So sorry to all the firefighters fans out there. Um, but let's be honest, I'm really just a Party Animals fan, and I was rooting for the firefighters just this once. Now I'll keep rooting for them. I met some cool firefighters players, and
We were able to talk with Christian Dearman and Matt Wolf, and that was really cool to see.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but one other cool thing that happened in the game was from the Sandlot. So the guy who plays Ham Porter in the Sandlot.
The
Uh,
great Hambino.
so they show the video of those clips from the Sandlot, and they're like, and now coming to hit for the Bananas, and then he comes out, and it was awesome. They had him mic'd up, and so he does the classic calling his shot, and like goes back and forth with the pitcher. It
Yeah,
was
he says
awesome.
some of his lines from the movie, and then he made contact.
It was a really good hit.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't end up being a hit, but yes, yeah,
It
I
was. I will say though, it was so funny to watch. You could visibly see the pain on the firefighters team. Like as he hit the ball, like the outfielder was like,
I don't
"Oh,
want to catch
it's
it.
right to me. I have to catch it. I want him to get a hit though," and then just catching it and just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get you." But like, it was pretty funny to watch.
Yeah, and this was kind of an interesting conversation that Brandon and I had. I think Brandon disagrees with me on this. Um, but I'm a classic sports fan. Like I I love sports. I'm a huge basketball fan. I love football. Love lacrosse. Grew up playing lacrosse. Um, Today I was watching the College World Series, so like I'll watch regular baseball too. And I love Banana Ball because I love the rules, right? I love the unique rules of Banana Ball. Um, but this game, there were times where I felt like the show got in the way of the competition. And I know a lot of Banana Ball fans will disagree with me here, but hopefully some will agree. And I don't think you need like I don't think they need to change anything. Like this is part of the game. This is why people love it. They're never gonna change it, and that's fine. Um, but there are two times in the game where the Bananas just gave away outs. Like they had, you know, Ham Porter, go the actor that played him, go out, and he got a quick out. They had this other guy who I'd never heard of before, which I guess he's a YouTube guy. I don't even.
Couple 100,000 followers, like Domingo Ayala, I think was his name,
Yeah,
something like
so
that.
he goes out and he gets out, and so right then, like the Bananas are just giving away outs, the Firefighters,
Yeah.
and in those moments, like they're so fun, and like I was so excited to see Ham Porter come out because I'm a huge Sandlot fan, and like those are awesome moments. And last weekend when the Royals players came out, like those are really awesome moments. But the sports fan in me is like that's messing with the competition, and they want the game to be a competition. They want it to be competitive, and so I've noticed that I actually think I really like watching. I think this is why I love watching the games in Savannah so
Hmm.
much more than these other big event games
Yeah.
because it's just pure banana ball in Savannah. They're not trying to do something big because there's so many people in the crowd. It's not this huge event where they, and I know I'm going back on, some things I've said previously, which I do love. Is like they try to uh, bring in the sporting history of the towns, and that stuff's all awesome. But when I'm just talking about the competition, I love the banana ball rules. I love how it works. I love the trick plays and everything. And you get that in its purest form when they just play in Grayson Stadium.
Yeah, and I totally get where you're coming from with that. My main rebuttal there is it almost feels like this season is an exhibition season. The official Banana Ball Championship League hasn't started yet.
Yeah, I
And
want. Yeah,
so there my guess and my hope is once it becomes a competitive league, they're going to have to iron that out because I agree with you. If and it doesn't feel as bad because the Bananas won and they won so easily against the Firefighters in this game. But like if they would have lost by 1 point where like that out would have mattered, then
yeah,
it would be
because
a
that
bigger
that,
deal.
that guy, the YouTube guy that I still can't remember his name. Sorry, I'm supposed to know this stuff, but he took the place of KJ Jackson.
And Ham Porter, it wasn't shown in the game, but Ham Porter took the place of Jackson Olsen.
Yeah. Like these are some of your best players that just don't get to bat for
Yeah.
that round of the pitching order.
And so like I think what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to balance out some of those and like, okay, there's a guest appearance for the Bananas and there's a guest appearance for the Firefighters. The question is, are they gonna be able to pull that off? Because if I'm a guest, I know that I will get the most reach on social media if I'm in a Bananas uniform.
Yeah.
So we've got to get to the point where, and they're getting there, where the other teams are getting big enough that like someone's gonna say, you know what? You reached out to me to come to a Banana Ball game. I want to wear a Party Animals jersey, or I want to wear a Texas
That's what
Tailgaters
I
jersey.
do. Get me out there. I would not make contact. I actually do not want to do that. I would embarrass myself so bad.
But yeah, so like it would be cool if they can like balance those things out. And I think that actually, if they can convince a celebrity guest to do that, that would be one of the best things for Banana Ball as a whole. Because if you had Ham Porter playing in a Party Animals uniform or a Firefighters uniform or something like that, then it goes on social media, and then there are people that know about the Savannah Bananas that now know about the Firefighters and know about the Party Animals to a greater extent. So we'll see. I bet that's going to happen soon, especially they're going to iron out some of these things going into the league, I hope, but we'll see.
Yeah, they have to. But who knows? Maybe they'll still do that. And it's okay. Like it's good entertainment. It really is.
Yeah.
Like I had a great time at the game. I'm not saying that they need to stop doing that. I'm just saying the competitive side of me, and I I bet that there are players that feel this way too.
Yeah.
I know that they love playing for the Bananas. I know that they love having so much fun, but I also know how competitive these guys are.
Yeah.
And so I know that they want to win, and it would kill them if because they were doing this stuff they ended up losing the game. So I don't know. It's just kind of some things that I've been thinking about since the game. Um, I'm not saying that they need to change it. I'm just saying that that's just some of my thoughts.
Totally, because yeah, it feels bad if they were to lose because of that out. While on the flip side, a couple weeks ago when they had the wounded warrior guy with the prosthetic leg, and he got a hit. His highest level of baseball was high school, and he was able to get that hit, and that hit ended up allowing them to score a run, which allowed the Bananas to win. And so it's like you get the flip side where those moments are so cool. Like, can you imagine World Series type thing, whatever that is for Banana Ball, and you have Ham Porter come out and he just like hits a home run and wins the game for them. Like that'd be crazy.
Yeah, it would be legitimately insane if that happened. um, yeah, I get it because just last week, I'm I think I don't remember totally what I said last week. Um, I probably was saying something completely opposite to what I'm saying now, but it just for whatever reason it felt a little more. It felt more prevalent this game for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll see where it goes. That's one of my favorite things about Banana Ball is that they're able to make a switch on the dot. So like if it ever got bad enough, they would make a switch, and I think that they probably have some stuff in the works to make those switches. But kind of going into that, I wanted to switch back over to Savannah Bananas Day at Disneyland a little bit and talk about some of the stuff that I think went really well and some of the stuff that I think could go better. And I'm going to say when they have another Savannah Bananas Day because I truly think that they're going to do this again in the future and that this was just a test run. Um, all of the bad stuff I'm going to talk about was because Banana Ball was so great. It was literally because there were too many fans. They were
They're
too
so
excited.
popular.
They were so popular. They were so excited for it, and I don't think that Disney or Banana Ball was necessarily ready for it. Um, and it was really nice being able to go to the game because they've ironed out some of those kinks at the game. Some of the stuff that was like a bit of like an issue at Disneyland was they did right at the games. And so kind of contrasting those things like can kind of lead to where I think they could have an even better Savannah Bananas Day at Disneyland. So first off, I got to meet a couple players. It was so cool. It was really fun walking up to rides and just seeing the bananas on the rides. They come out and they interact with the fans and they just so giving of their time and wanting to meet people. And the cast members did so good about letting them have a couple minutes and then okay, crowd's getting a little big. Let's roll out and then they take them backstage and then they pop up another part of the park. That was great. The parade was great. All of those things were amazing. It got a little bit sticky when they were trying to film some content, some interviews up at the front of the park by the flagpole, and there were a couple players who were signing autographs, and it got to the point where they just got mobbed. And I was up there to try to see if I could meet some of them, and it was like jam packed where I wasn't moving, and the only way to get up to the front was basically to shove your way up. And I even had someone behind me like, "Hey, I want to get up there, so like I'll follow you. You just push your way up there. You're never going to get up there." And it was just like, this is so weird. And I ended up walking out and just kind of watching from a distance. But I could see it on the players' faces that that was not the interaction that they wanted. When they had those close interactions after the rides, they were so excited and so happy to meet the fans. They got to spend time with them just like they did at the Bananas game.
Yeah.
But when they were like mobbed like that, and it was basically just like there's just like a bunch of hands. Here, grab my card, sign it, hand it back to me. Here's my hat. Like they're not having those personal interactions. And that was, I think, also draining for them. And they ended up having to just leave after the interviews. And it wasn't, I don't think it was the best experience even for the players. But I think one thing that they could change going forward is do more of the pop-ups at the rides. I think that was really cool. And then you get those well, oh, I wasn't expecting them to be here, and now they're on a ride.
Yeah.
You get a ride next to them, all of those things, and then if you're gonna have those meet and greets, I think that they should do more of what they did at the game. So pregame, there were very clear lines for everyone to go meet the players, and that allowed everyone to fully understand like, okay, if I want to meet this player, here's the line I have to wait in. And when I get up to the front, I have their full attention. I get to actually spend some time. I get to actually get a good photo and some of those things. And I think that if they bring some of that, it could increase how good the experience was. And also the other big thing I think was communication. So I met someone who they didn't know which park to go to, and with Disneyland's rules, whichever park you pick, you have to stay there until at least 11, which was when the banana stuff started. So they started in California Adventure and missed the banana stuff because the communication didn't come out until that morning. So I think that's something that could be improved. And again, I don't think that they were expecting it. Like, how are you supposed to know some of those things beforehand? And then the communication of, hey, we're going to be out there all day. I got to have the really fun interactions in the morning, so I had a very fulfilling experience. I met some other people in California Adventure that were like, hey, are the bananas going to come over? Hopefully they're going to be here. And it was like, they were so excited to meet them. They'd come to Disneyland for that. And then for whatever reason, the bananas were that afternoon just in normal clothes trying to stay hidden, which totally get. You
Yeah,
want to have some time at Disneyland. So just, I think, kind of the communication there of like, hey, we'll be here in the morning. You can meet us there. And then you might find us, but like, we're just having a Disneyland day in the afternoon. So don't expect anything. I think that would go a long ways for the fans who they're just so excited to meet these players. And so I think they wanted that really bad.
for sure. And I was at work all day, so I'm just gonna have to take Brandon's word for it.
Yeah, so next time there's a Savannah Bananas Day, hopefully all 6 teams will come because it was just the Bananas and the Firefighters, and hopefully I can convince Sammy to come as well, and we can.
Maybe the party animals will go to a cooler amusement park,
Wow, that is a hot take. I think we need to call the Firefighters to put that one out. What amusement park would you suggest?
like a Six Flags or something.
Okay,
Yeah, I
I mean that fits the party animals vibes a bit more, but
that's what I'm saying. Like the Savannah Bananas kind of feel like a Disney, Disney park. Party animals should go somewhere else.
yeah.
And the Texas tailgater should go to a rodeo or something.
Dude, that would be sick.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we're really excited for the future of Banana Ball. It was a really fun weekend of being able to see a game in person and also seeing the first ever Savannah Bananas Day at Disneyland. And it's so cool how they can just take all of those moments, they take the good, they keep doing it. They take the stuff that wasn't as good and they iterate on it and they make it better for the next time. And I'm really excited to continue to see the future of Banana Ball in that. And thank you to the Banana Ball team for welcoming us there and allowing us to have such an amazing time at both of those. So we appreciate it.
Seriously, we felt really welcomed. It was an awesome, awesome experience for us. So glad that we were able to go there, and also just the crazy moment for us. I've never been recognized in public before by someone that I've never met in person, and so we had a few people, you know, that have watched us, have been on the live streams, that came up and talked to us, and we talked for like 15 minutes, and it was a really cool experience. Just you guys are so awesome, so gracious, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and it was just really fun for us, like, to kind of be like, okay, we have people here, we're growing something cool, we're making something great, and it's because of you watching, and we really appreciate all that you do to help us grow this and try to spread a little bit more joy in the world and give people some fun.
Yeah, it's nice to know we're not just talking into the void. That there's someone listening on the other end. So thank you.
Yeah, and also want to shout out that we were able to make some good connections with some of the players, and so we have more interviews coming. So we've got some of the other ones that are on the channel right now, if you want to check those out. But we've got more coming. We've got a lot more Banana Ball players, and it's a really exciting time to be a Banana Ball
Yeah, can't wait to keep going, and go Firefighters.
fan. Go Tailgaters! We'll give some representation there.